But that's race of the year essentially done. Let's move on to a bit of a trickier category this time out because here I think we'll be criticizing a few drivers a little bit while not having bad intentions in them with any mind. That is going to be the most disappointing driver of the year. And let's be honest, there were a few. Let's begin with you, Kunal. Who would you go for as your most disappointing driver? Clearly, a few names pop up more than the others, but who's going to be your pick?
I think it's a very easy pick for me, and it's Lance Stroll, and I'm not trolling him. Okay, and the point is, I think he had a very good season start. He was pretty solid. He was changing perceptions that people have had, anchored in their memories about him being a paid driver, being there because his father is owning the team and the likes. And then suddenly he had the crash in Mugello, and then from there everything just went downwards. And one of the reasons why I think it was a disappointment is because one of the hallmark of a good driver is also to be able to catch a downslide in careers, okay, and
Hmm.
any sportsman for that matter, is to catch that slide that's happening, correct it, stabilize, and then build on from there, right? And that's unfortunately something that we couldn't really see in Lance Stroll's season in 2020. And this is despite the fact he had Checo Perez, great car, W10, pink Mercedes, all those things. So he had everything he needed apart from just being able to self lift himself. And yes, my daughter is complaining that I'm actually picking up Lance Stroll. Uh, and that's not because he's driving a pink car. But I would also give another example to explain the Lance Stroll scenario. You get limited chances in Formula One. We all know that, right? And we spoke about that with Checo Perez and George Russell, for example. Limited chance. He knows the only chance for him to shine is on Saturdays, and he's literally picked every Saturday to shine as he could. And it's just a contrast to the Lance Stroll picking that I've done for the most disappointing driver for 2020.
Hmm. Yeah, makes sense. He got his first pole position though, but yeah, a bit of a disappointing year for Lance Stroll, especially, I beg your pardon, when you consider what's happening with his teammate in the very next car. Sundaram, I'll come to you for this one. Who was your most disappointing driver? Was it Lance? Was it one Alex Albon, perhaps?
No, I'm gonna go for a pretty more shocking one, I would say. I would have easily gone for Sebastian Vettel, but I thought he didn't have much to lose in comparison to the
Hmm.
person I'm eventually choosing. In the case of Vettel, he's already won 4 championships and he's won 50 races and more.
Hmm.
Someone I think who had a lot more to lose this year was Valtteri Bottas. Firstly, Ferrari were not in the hunt, so that makes it that much more easier for him to challenge for the title, which makes it just one other car, that is Hamilton. Second point being that his problem is much beyond that. If you compare the 4 years of Bottas with Rosberg, where they've partnered Hamilton, Bottas has much lesser poles, much lesser wins than Rosberg as well. And the other fundamental problem that he has, he's had 16 pole positions in 4 years. He's won just five of them, which makes a
Hmm.
conversion rate of just 30%. Rosberg's had 48, Lewis Hamilton's had 70. He's had several
Wow.
difficult races starting off from the grid. And a very interesting stat is whenever he loses the lead from pole, he's never regained it in any race. Bottas really needs
Hmm.
a pole to flag race for him to really win it, and that's some. I think he really has very big, huge things to worry about in 2021. And this year's performance will, even though he's come second, seriously, even though he's come second, this year's performance is really going to dent his reputation because another year like 2020, he's going to have George Russell breathing down his neck in 2021. And I don't think so that there's going to be enough chances in 2022 because Ferrari are locked in. Red Bull has Sonoda, they have Perez, they have Gasly to look at. Renault may even look at Gasly, and the other good team is Racing Point. So they have Sebastian Vettel. I really don't know if Bottas, if he is pushed out of the team, he may just have to go back to Williams, and that's not something you expect from someone who's doing so well. So he has a lot of things to figure out with his own technique, and I think he should have done a lot better. So next year it's not just about points. It isn't just about podiums. It's about wins right now. So next year has to be massive from Bottas.
I love it when you bring out the stats. That really makes you look at it in such a different perspective. We knew that Bottas had that problem, but to that extent, never that much. Excellent point. Nithyanand, coming to you, who was your most disappointing driver this year?
I'm going to do a racing point.
Ah,
Uh, I would choose Valtteri Bottas as well.
Okay.
oh, okay.
Uh,
Racing point.
so,
Nice.
adding to Sundaram's point, do you know how many places he has lost in the first lap itself? It's 24.
What?
Being a driver who's driving for a championship caliber team has lost 24 places in the first lap itself. So, which is
Hmm.
humongous. When you are challenging a multiple champion like Lewis Hamilton, you have to be impeccable on each and every day. You have to consistently produce results. So, his qualifying pace difference is 0.19 second between Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas. But when it comes to the race, whenever you put him under pressure, he always struggle. For example, I'll take you to Shah GP. Uh, George Russell, he was driving, literally driving Lewis Hamilton's setup, Lewis Hamilton's car, the seat fit which was made for Lewis Hamilton, I believe. He actually outraced Valtteri Bottas. So
Hmm.
if you if you're a Formula One driver, if you want to compete against greatest drivers, you have to withstand pressure. You have to show resistance, tenacity. So I don't think if Valtteri Bottas has caliber to be a champion, or sorry for being a critic. Um, Maybe next season he has to forget everything which happened until 2020. He has 1 year in his contract. He has to come back and say, hey, Mercedes, I have nothing to lose. I will challenge Lewis Hamilton. Just as a fan, I request him to show a title fight with Hamilton. We haven't had a title fight in last 8 years. We need it from Valtteri Bottas.
I like that. I like the subtle Alonso reference. Thanks.
Yeah.
Oh man, seriously, lot expected from Bottas, not quite going in his direction. Let's see what happens in 2020. That's the most disappointing driver. Seems to be a bit of a popular vote this one. 2-1 outnumbered. I think I'll be going for Bottas as well. Clearly, a lot more on the line that he could have done. But